think the grieving ever ends. It evolves. We've been wanting to tell Amie's story and just felt like we weren't ready before. But now we feel like we can do it.
I was so proud of her and what she's accomplished.
Oh my goodness. Fire eater, dancer, photographer, model, therapist. She wanted to fix people.
You might want to speak to this woman, Dr. Amie Harwick.
As a licensed marriage and family therapist, I see all kinds of different things, anxiety, depression, change of life stuff, breakups, moves, things like that.
Amie helped me so much. I had gone to see Amie because I had dealt with a relationship that got very out of control and turned into a very serious stalking case.
Jealousy can become dangerous and even lead to violence. It can lead to death.
I want emergency, operator 434.
Yeah, somebody just attacked my roommate. Please get a cop here.
I just was woken up by screaming, like blood-curdling scream. And then I realized that the screaming wasn't stopping or slowing down. And I yelled up, you know, Amie. And I heard choking right after that. I knew we were in trouble. This is for real. This is really happening. I knew we needed help. Like, I'm gonna have to make a break for it.
When the first responders first got that call, where did they go?
They came right here to this house.
Hey, sir. Hi. How can I help you?
My roommate was attacked. I know it. I heard it. She's screaming. She was thrown to the ground.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Michael Herman was out here. He's frantic. He's nervous.
They didn't know what to think of this guy.
Right. They had no idea of who he was, why he was involved in all of this. They knew he was rambling on. They had some doubts about him originally.
I think there's
Okay, sir, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Calm down. Calm down. Other than your roommate, is there anybody else inside the house?
I don't know. Thanks.
And I'm walking them around to the back of the house. And it's dark back there. There's some light, but it's pretty dark back there.
And when they get around to the back, now they can see a body on the ground.
Sir, come here.
I remember not knowing what I was seeing, and afterwards realizing it was Amie.
Really what hit me was the way that she was killed. So heartbreaking that her, of all people, had to be taken in the way that she was.
I said, I know who did it. I just knew it. I was the only person she was afraid of. It's the only one she was ever afraid of.
Take a seat. Take a seat.
Oh my God. Hey, we need to Oh my God. What happened to you?
In the early morning darkness of February 15, 2020, police body cameras were recording as Amie Harwick, barely clinging to life outside of her Hollywood Hills home, was taken to a hospital.
If she says anything in the hospital, I need to know that.
As EMTs tried to save Amie, officers from the Los Angeles Police Department tried to make sense of the scene. Amie's roommate, Michael Herman, appeared to be the only witness. He told officers an intruder had attacked Amie.
I swear to you, that was a struggle I heard.
But is there any sign of the intruder?
There wasn't.
Scott Masterson was the lead detective.
All we knew when we showed up was that a female was found on the ground in the back of the house. We're wide open to what really went on.
Even open to the possibility that this wasn't foul play at all. When officers searched the three-story house, they found Amie's purse, jacket, and broken necklace on the floor. Not exactly telltale signs of a crime. And a discovery on Amie's balcony made them wonder if this could have been an accident or even suicide.
On the deck of the balcony, we found a medium-sized syringe, and it was loaded with a yellowish-brown substance.
Yeah, it's heroin.
When the officers first saw that, they thought, what, was this some kind of drug deal or incident?
Exactly. Or maybe she was using drugs and fell over. They didn't know.
Sir, do you know her history of drug use?
No, she's sober. She doesn't drink it. She didn't even drink.
She doesn't drink.
She doesn't even drink. She's sober.
And when I first saw it, I said, that's not heroin.
Not heroin, but he didn't know what it was. But what did you think? Wasn't that odd?
Very odd. Very strange.
And very strange to investigators, says Masterson, was that Michael had blood on his shirt. And although he said he was a roommate, he didn't have his keys to the house when first responders arrived.
They don't know if he's part of the problem, part of the solution.
He might be a suspect because he's got blood on him.
So, they're thinking, was he in a fight with her?
That was not true. Michael Herman is telling his story publicly for the first time about the events on the night of Valentine's Day, 2020, and into the early hours of the next day.
The word nightmare isn't even a big enough word, is it?
No.
Amie had gone out with friends, and Michael was in his downstairs bedroom.
I'd been mostly nodding on and off. I remember what sounded like a plate drop and being woken up by it.
Thinking it was Amie's cat, he says he fell back asleep. He later woke up to Amie returning home and that blood-curdling scream. He then heard what sounded like Amie being thrown to the floor and later choked.
The sound made you feel that there was someone up with her.
I knew for a fact there was somebody up there after that. I'm trying to listen. You don't know for sure what's going on. Was he acting alone? Was there more than one person? I start rushing to look for my phone.
But Michael says he couldn't find his phone. He then started yelling to scare the intruder.
I remember thinking, like, this is so much worse than any horror movie I've ever seen. You're realizing that to save her, like, you've got to make the decision to leave her. It was such a hard decision.
Michael fled the house to get help, but when he got to the front gate, it was locked. He climbed over a fence, cutting himself on spiked rods. Frantically, he ran to the next-door neighbor's house. That neighbor's surveillance camera shows Michael knocking on the door, but no one answers.
I just kind of panicked, feeling like a lot of time had already passed.
He then ran into someone on the street and used their phone to call 911.
You guys need to get a cop here, quick.
Sir, the officers are on the way.
After spending hours at the scene, investigators found something in the light of day that they had missed before. A broken window from a French door on the ground floor with blood nearby.
And so as soon as we saw that, okay, this is our point of entry. We have a crime here. Somebody broke into this house and did this.
So this was the first piece of evidence that said to you, Mike Herman might be telling you the truth.
Correct.
Later at the Hollywood police station, Michael told Masterson about the person he believed was responsible.
Told them she had an ex-boyfriend that she had had a restraining order against that had expired. I don't know his name, but Robert would know his name.
Robert is Robert Koshland, one of Amie's closest friends. We first spoke to Robert in 2020. He told us what he told police.
They were like, do you know who might have, could have done this? And I was like, yeah, Gareth.
Gareth Pursehouse, an old boyfriend whom Amie had had a troubled relationship with when they dated almost 10 years earlier.
I was like, you need to go find this guy right away.
Masterson then broke the news to Robert and Michael. Amie had died at the hospital. She was 38 years old.
How difficult was it to hear that Amie didn't make it?
It's still difficult to hear.
As investigators worked to find Amie's ex-boyfriend, They also tried to find Amie's parents, Penny and Tom Harwick, in Pennsylvania. The Harwicks remember getting ready for bed when there was a knock at the door. It was the local police.
And he said, Amie's been murdered.
It's a blur right now.
I don't know how to describe it.
Just devastated.
Penny and Tom's life with Amie began when they adopted her as an 11-month-old baby. Do you remember the first time you saw your little girl?
Oh, I absolutely remember. Kind of like a fairy tale. It's like, here's this beautiful little girl sitting there, and she's going to come home with us and be our daughter. It was wonderful.
And believe it or not, she had a head full of curls.
And her hair was honey-colored. By the time she was 4, it was so dark.
Around that same time, the Harwicks adopted their son, Chris.
And she was okay with it for a couple of weeks, and then she said, well, when is he going back? And I said, well, he's not. He's your brother. He's going to be here forever.
How would you describe your sister?
Amie was a very interesting character. She was into heavy metal, into rock music, going to concerts.
And Amie got her parents in on the action, too.
She turned Penny and I into metalheads, or headbangers.
Seriously?
Seriously.
And she would always manage to get either backstage or to meet the performers. That's just who she was.
After high school, Amie met Tommy Decker, a drummer from LA, at a local concert. The two began dating long distance.
And then she said, I want to move out there. I want to move out to LA.
In 2001, she headed west. She was 20 years old.
She needed to find out who she was. She needed to do that for herself.
Soon, the couple tied the knot, but after a 3-year marriage, Tommy and Amie divorced. It wasn't until 2009 that Amie would go on to meet Gareth Pursehouse, the man police suspected had killed her, and whom they were now searching for.
Heartbreak for a local neighborhood after a well-known therapist was killed at her Hollywood Hills home.
People have left flowers here for Amie Harwick, and her friends and family are hoping for justice.
I was very confident that, Gareth Pursehouse was our guy.
Within 13 hours of Amie Harwick's death on February 15, 2020, police descended on Gareth Purshouse's beachside neighborhood to arrest him.
You could tell he was playing the old, what's this about? Why do you want to talk? Who? Oh, yeah, I know Amie, sure, yeah. He basically was saying, I've been at home.
Detectives weren't buying that story or the explanation Pursehouse gave for what appeared to be a fresh black eye. He blamed a home renovation.
I said, I think you better get a contractor. If you get a hold of a power tool, you're going to be in real trouble.
Pursehouse was charged with Amie's murder on February 19, 2020. And detectives were learning about his troubled past beginning not long after he and Amie began dating in 2009.
They seemed like a pretty fun couple and kind of nice to see, friends get together.
When we first spoke to Rudy Torres in 2020, he talked about how the couple met. Amie, then working as a model and dancer, would often run into Pursehouse, an events photographer, at flashy LA parties.
If you would meet him, you would think he's charming, a little goofy, kind of dorky.
He wasn't a musician like she normally dated.
No, and she was trying to break that habit.
Pursehouse was also a computer expert and an aspiring comedian.
Here he is, one more time for Gareth, everybody, come on.
I have bad news for the entertainers over there. The best day of your career is going to be the days after you die.
But oddly, says Amie's mother, Penny, her daughter didn't share much else about him. And why do you think that is?
Well, maybe she was already feeling like he wasn't who she thought he was.
And Penny says her daughter never shared how volatile the 2-year relationship had become.
She'd gone through quite a bit with Gareth. There was a number of police reports that were made.
Detectives learned that Amie had called police to report several violent incidents over the years. She said that on multiple occasions, Gareth Pursehouse had choked, suffocated, and punched her with a closed fist, and she even documented her injuries with these photos. But Amie's father, Tom, says Amie didn't share just how bad things had gotten.
She didn't go into details.
Do you think she just wanted to protect the two of you?
Yes, yes.
After Amie ended the relationship, she took steps to protect herself, obtaining a restraining order against Pursehouse in 2012. But while she was trying to distance herself from him, Rudy says Pursehouse could not let her go.
He always wanted to get a hold of her, and I used to tell him that he should just leave her alone, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. And then he cut me off.
In the years after their breakup, Amie told her parents that her home was broken into. On one occasion, strangely, the only things taken were personal photos, and on another, her computer was wiped clean. And did she think it was Gareth?
She did.
Yes. Oh, yes.
But no way of proving.
No way of proving anything. Of course we were worried, but then we also felt like, well, she's done with him. It's over. And it was never over.
And Penny says Amie was thriving, getting a degree to become a licensed therapist.
Hi, this is Dr. Amie Harwick, licensed marriage and family therapist.
Amie posted therapy videos on her social media.
You can seek therapy to address an issue like depression, anxiety, a breakup. You can also seek therapy to be a better you.
But even as Amie focused on helping others, she couldn't quite shake the shadows from her past. She lost a job as a youth counselor, Penny says, after a prospective employer was anonymously sent nude photos of her. Amie believed Pursehouse was behind it.
She was really upset about it, and she wasn't sure what she was going to do.
Despite that obstacle, Amie studied for a PhD in human sexuality, earning the title doctor. She took a special interest in marginalized groups, sex workers, and vulnerable women. And she doesn't stop. She
bounced right back.
I wrote a book called The New Sex Bible for Women.
No, she didn't stop. She would work with these groups of people that she felt were underrepresented and needed help.
What was Dr. Harwick's reputation?
Dr. Amie Harwick had an amazing reputation. I had a lot of mutual friends that had seen her.
Emily Sears, a model who's graced the cover of Maxim magazine, first started seeing Dr. Amie Harwick in 2017, in part to help her overcome anxiety she had around dating and intimacy.
I felt that she was relatable. Well, I didn't know just exactly how relatable it was.
Even when she opened up to Amie about an abusive ex-boyfriend who had stalked her, Emily says Amie never told her about her own similar experience.
And that still is something that I am struggling to process, knowing that I was sitting across from her and she had been through so much that was similar.
As Amie was helping Emily work through her issues around dating, Amie was taking a chance on a new man in her own life.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Drew Carey, comedian and host of The Price is Right on CBS.
She was obviously really beautiful. She was really smart. She just wanted to help people, especially women.
We spoke to Carey in 2022. He said it wasn't long after meeting Amie at a party that he decided she was the one.
And I said, if this keeps going the way it's going, I'm going to marry her.
And what happened?
What happened was he ended up taking her to Paris on New Year's Eve and proposing to her. She accepted.
Drew and Amie shared the news on his show soon after.
I'd like to introduce you to my brand new lovely fiance, Amie. How you doing, Amie?
But instead of spending the rest of their lives together, later that year, the couple split up. How did she take the breakup?
She was devastated. I mean, she broke it off. And I think that's because, well, fame was getting in the way.
That's because, says Penny, Amie feared that with the added public attention she was getting while on the arm of a celebrity, she could be putting herself in danger.
You know who was watching, and it made her worry.
It hit home a lot after Amie passed in the way that she did. How dangerous it really is for women.
Emily Sears, one of Amie Harwick's therapy clients, was shaken by the news of her death.
The reality is we're not safe. Nobody is.
In dealing with some domestic violence case, this was a bit different because the way Gareth Purcell's acted in this case was more methodical.
When Deputy District Attorney Victor Avila took on the case, he was particularly troubled by evidence that Purcell had broken into Amie's house, hoping to catch her off guard when she arrived home.
And that's at the point that we decided to charge not only the murder charge, but also the special circumstance of lying in wait. These are the crime scene notes.
Avila, along with his co-counsel, Deputy District Attorney Catherine Mariano, reviewed surveillance and body camera video, interviews with Amie's family and friends, and compiled a timeline of the events leading up to the murder.
It became very clear to me that his obsession drove his intent to kill her.
They believe that Purcell's obsession with Amie was ignited when he saw her at this award show about a month before her murder. It was a chance encounter. Purcell working the gig as a photographer, Amie smiling for the cameras, enjoying the limelight. But moments earlier, off camera, witnesses say an angry Purcell confronted her. Penny Harwick recalls Amie telling her she hadn't seen him in almost a decade.
He called her a bitch and he told her she ruined his life. And she just told me how afraid she was because he was crying and causing a huge scene. And she said, "Mom, I went into therapist mode. I just tried to calm him."
After talking to Gareth for almost an hour, Amie left the event very worried.
What was your reaction, Penny, when she was telling you this?
That's when we talked about security, and she said she was going to get pepper spray.
We decided to start sharing locations so I could track where she was.
Her close friend, Robert Koshland, says that sharing her phone's location was one of the few things Amie felt she could do to feel safe. The restraining order against Purcell had long expired, and because Purcell hadn't expressly threatened her, Robert says she didn't think going to police would help. Still, he says, Amie was very concerned.
That's when she said, "Look, if something happens to me, he did it."
She actually said that?
Yeah, no, she literally said that.
She's thinking that he can cause me harm, and the very next day, he finds her phone on the internet and starts texting her.
Gareth sent Amie a series of texts and later left her a tear-filled voicemail.
"I have so much I need to say. Please give me a chance to just say it. Please."
That's when prosecutors say Amie decided to block his number.
I believe up until that point, he was trying to manipulate his way back into her life at the point that she made the decision to block him. That was her choice, and she had that right to do that.
Prosecutors say Purcell started to plan to kill Amie on Valentine's Day.
Was that just a random date?
Absolutely not. I think he wanted to make a statement by killing her on Valentine's Day.
On February 14, 2020, Amie went out with a group of friends around 7 p.m. 2 hours later, say prosecutors, surveillance cameras from her next-door neighbor's property were activated.
You get those Ring cameras that show a person that looks just like Gareth Purcell with gloves.
When he first comes into view, he covers the camera. And when the camera senses no more motion, it shuts off. And then he hops over the fence.
Into Amie's yard. Soon after, around 9 p.m., they believe Purcell broke through that French door.
And that's consistent with Michael Herman. He heard something breaking upstairs early in the evening.
And I think he just got into the house, cut himself. I don't think he even realized he cut himself.
Leaving that blood police later found nearby. DNA testing would confirm it belonged to Purcell's. And Detective Masterson says where Purcell's went next was revealed by Amie's unmade bed.
I think he climbed in her bed. He was there waiting for her for quite a while.
How creepy is that?
Crazy creepy.
That's where Masterson believes Amie found him 4 hours later when she arrived home a little after 1 a.m.
She walks into her bedroom, and I think she just froze in shock and fear. And the one thing that was on the bed was her phone. So I think she actually threw her phone at him and turned and started to run out of the bedroom. And she's screaming, and they're fighting and they're wrestling.
How hard did Amie fight for her life?
I think she fought with everything she had.
He had something that appeared to look like a bite mark on his bicep.
And Purcell's also had that black eye.
To us, it was indicative of Amie fighting for her life, but she was obviously up against a much bigger, stronger opponent.
Prosecutors believe Purcell started choking Amie. And that's when Michael Herman yelled, they believe, catching Purcell's by surprise.
And I think that plan was definitely thwarted by the unbeknownst presence of Michael Herman there. I just don't believe that he even knew that somebody was home.
In his panic, they believe Purcell's dropped that syringe police found on the balcony. It was months before lab tests revealed what it contained: liquid nicotine.
A toxic poison that, if injected into someone, it would kill them.
Why kill her that way?
I mean, with that lethal dose of nicotine, people may not know what killed her. It may not be detected.
With his original plan interrupted, prosecutors believe that Purcell's carried Amie, barely conscious after being strangled, to the third-story balcony.
He lifts her right over the rail and then drops her to kill her.
Gareth Purcell's is caught on the neighbor's camera hopping back over the fence. With their suspect and theory of the crime, the prosecutors were ready for trial. But they were surprised by Gareth Purcell's defense, blaming Amie for what happened that night. In August 2023, more than 3 years after Amie Harwick's death, her accused killer, Gareth Purcell's, went on trial.
I almost didn't recognize him.
Right.
In their opening statements, prosecutors Victor Avila and Catherine Mariano told jurors why and how they believe Purcell's ended Amie's life in the early morning of February 15, 2020.
Dr. Amie Harwick was murdered by defendant Gareth Purcell because he was obsessed with her. He strangled her, lifted her up over the balcony, and dropped her to her death.
I just pray that Amie was unconscious when she went over the balcony.
Tom and Penny sat through every second of the trial, even the most graphic moments.
I need to know what happened to my daughter.
And we wanted to be there for Amie.
Yeah.
Through the whole ordeal.
But the Harwicks were not alone. Also in the courtroom, a small army of Amie's friends, including Rudy Torres.
This is the last thing I could ever do for her.
Although fortified by her friends, nothing could prepare the Harwicks to hear, for the first time ever, Gareth Purcell's explanation about what happened the night Amie died. Defense attorney Evan Franzel claims that running into Amie in January 2020 at that award show had sent Purcell's into, quote, a deep, debilitating depression, unquote. And the only way out of it was to talk to Amie on Valentine's Day 2020.
His only intention that night was to speak to her.
What was your reaction to that?
Bull, to put it bluntly. They're making up stories because they have no defense.
And as for that nicotine-filled syringe found at the crime scene, Purcell's defense attorney says it wasn't for Amie.
He brought it intending to kill himself.
Why didn't he? No, he was on a mission to kill her.
He was wearing gloves when he went there. He covered up the cameras. What's the purpose in doing all that if you're going to kill yourself there in front of her?
In this trial,
The defense tells the jurors they will hear from an accident reconstructionist who will show that Amie fell on her own. Defense attorney Franzel then shows the jury 2 images, a screenshot of the reconstruction showing an animated figure hanging from the balcony, and an undated photo of Amie posing on top of a balcony railing.
you'll see that she had a certain comfort level with the balcony railing.
Beautiful young lady, wasn't she? She looked glorious.
What was your reaction?
Ridiculous.
I couldn't take it seriously. It was just so far-fetched to me.
She's been strangled, she's debilitated. So for her to then walk, climb over a 3-foot rail, do all that, it doesn't seem reasonable. It seems actually unreasonable.
The defense's opening concludes with this damning admission.
Yes, Gareth Purcell was waiting in her home. He broke into her home. Had he not been there, she wouldn't have died that night. That is not in dispute. He set a chain of actions into motion that led to her death. But the evidence will show that he never intended on killing her.
Over the course of 10 days, the prosecution presented its evidence to prove that Gareth Purcell did intend to kill Amie Harwick. Dozens of witnesses testified for the state, including Detective Masterson, now retired, Robert Koechlin, and of course, Amie's roommate, Michael Herman, the man who heard it all. Michael described for the jury how after that incident on the red carpet, Amie had been concerned about those French doors that Purcell would later use to break into her home.
Amie had met with a handyman. I remember they were over by the glass doors, and Amie was pointing it out and telling him, we need to secure this.
Prosecutors also played for the jury this taped jail conversation between Purcell and his friends after his arrest.
I guess I'm officially a bad boy now, right? I've always been kind of...
Just a couple of weeks after he's been arrested for murder, he's laughing with his friends. You never hear any moment of concern for Amie during that call.
Yeah, so it's not great. I'm not getting out of here.
Why was that important?
I think that's one piece of evidence to show a consciousness of guilt. So he knows what's coming because the evidence shows what he did. It proves what he did.
When it was the defense's turn to present its case and call its expert witness to show how Amie's fall from the balcony was an accident, the defense suddenly rested without calling a single witness.
Didn't that hurt the defense?
I am sure some jurors were wondering what happened, so I don't think that helps.
During closing arguments, defense attorney Robin Bernstein-Lev presented a new theory of what happened that night, that Amie may have attacked Purcell.
We don't know who initiated the physical confrontation. It is just as likely, if not likelier, she preemptively attacked Gareth Purcell in order to subdue him because she was afraid of him.
You see that all the time, don't you? A 115-pound lady picking a fight with a 230-pound, 6'4" man. Just preposterous on its face.
Did that make you mad?
Oh, it took all my willpower to stay in that seat, to keep my mouth shut.
During the state's closing arguments, it's Amie Harwick who has the last word, with prosecutor Mariano reading from an email Amie wrote to herself hours after her January 2020 encounter with Purcell.
The night I felt very scared. Gareth came up behind me and started screaming.
I'm pretty nervous that I'm more on his radar now. It terrifies me that he's obsessed with me for 9 years, thinks about me every day. He's focused on harming me.
That's the closest we've ever had to a victim testifying in their murder. I thought it was extremely devastating.
Jurors had 3 choices: murder in the first degree, murder in the second, or the lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter.
When it came time for deliberation, I think we all thought it would be rather quick. Day 1 went by, nothing.
I started getting a little worried and thinking, what could they be debating about?
I felt nervous. Yeah. Because you never know.
As jurors met for a second day to decide Gareth Pursehouse's fate, the waiting for a verdict began to weigh heavily on the prosecution.
It's incredibly nerve-wracking. The wait is the worst part.
And on Amie Harwick's friends and family.
And all you hear is just like a symphony of anxious bellies just grrr. So everybody's nervous.
But as court was about to adjourn,
We were walking out of the courthouse, and Rudy called down and said, everybody get up here, there's a verdict.
Is it correct that the jury has a verdict? You can hand the verdict forms over to the bailiff, please.
We, the jury, the above entitled action finding defendant Gareth Purshouse guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
Gareth Purshouse guilty of first-degree murder with a special circumstance of lying in wait.
What did you feel at that moment?
A huge relief. Huge relief. I just started crying and I couldn't stop. It was like, phew, finally, after all this time, he's going to be held accountable for what he did.
2 months later, Purshouse was sentenced to life in prison without parole. He didn't say a word. Amie's friend, Robert Koshland.
Justice was rendered, and that's good, but we shouldn't be here at all. This should never have happened to begin with. The hole in our lives remains.
He's impacted so many people with his actions, so many people. He devastated our family.
A family that has grown. After the verdict, Tom gathered Amie's friends, the ones who have stood by them every step of this journey.
I said, you're not our friends, you're family. You really have become our family.
Could you have gotten through this without them?
No.
I don't think so.
It's a testament to the amazing life and community Amie Harwick created.
She was really happy. She was really happy that she had really gotten her life together. Man, we were all happy.
Michael Herman says he still keeps replaying that night.
She's gone, and I'm still here. You want a second chance. I'm still trying to save her.
Michael Herman has a lot of survivor's guilt.
Oh my goodness. He did the exact right thing.
He made all the right decisions.
Do you feel your sister got justice?
I feel she did.
Amie's brother, Chris.
We wish that she still could be here to continue to help people, because that's what she's all about.
We lost a friend, but so many other people lost a healer.
I think of Amie every day because she helped me so much.
Emily Sears says she's struggling without Amie's guidance.
It's just so hard to feel safe when this is the reality of what happened to her and what happens to so many people.
Amie's loved ones are hoping to change that reality. After her death, a petition was created to rewrite California domestic violence laws, including a statute preventing restraining orders from expiring.
And our biggest disappointment was it lost all its impact when COVID shut everything down.
Prosecutor Catherine Mariano acknowledges that there are limits to the legal system.
By the time it gets to our table, we're in a position to act reactively rather than proactively. But as a society, I think we can always do better, right?
After the trial, Amie's parents headed home to Pennsylvania, the place where they first became a family with their little girl, and watched her grow into the woman admired and now missed by so many.
What's the hardest part? Just the absence, the quiet.
One huge void, one huge void.
And I miss our adventures.
Adventures remembered when they visit Amie's grave.
And I couldn't get a brighter orange. I know orange was your favorite color, but this is the closest I could get. We're not the same people we were before, but we keep trying to be.
We miss you, Amie. Every day we think of you.
Anything you wish you had been able to say to her?
Just to tell her one more time that I love her. I know she knew it, but I wanted to be able to say it.
New CBS Next. A young teenager is strangled and buried alive. Absolutely cold-blooded. 20 years later, her family battles to keep her killers behind bars.
We're fighting for her. That's why we're here. She doesn't have a voice, so we're her voice.
48 Hours is all new. CBS Next and streaming on Paramount Plus.
One of my friends' mom had texted me because she lived pretty close to Grapevine Lake. And she was like, look what happened.
A developing story right now, a body found on the banks of Grapevine Lake.
Nothing happens in Grapevine. Nothing except for what he did.
The victim was identified as Jacqueline Vandegrift.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacqueline Vandegrift, but friends call me Jackie.
Jackie Vandegrift was 24 years of age.
I am currently a junior here at Texas Women's University, and my major is nutrition with an emphasis in wellness.
And just beyond this area where the shade is pretty much hitting is where we had our crime scene. There are a lot of things that will shock you, and this is by far the worst thing I have seen.
My manager texts me, Charles has just been arrested. I felt like the world was spinning, like everything was out of control.
It's believed that last Tuesday, Jacqueline Vandegrift met up with Charles Bryant at a bar in Denton. Surveillance video, also cell phone pings, all put Vandegrift and Bryant together.
I remember him just being kind of quiet. I immediately said, there's no way. They have the wrong guy. There's no way that he did this.
Are you telling me there's no evidence that Charles Bryant killed Jackie Vandegrift?
Not direct evidence.
This is kind of my calling, dealing with these really strange cases, the serial killers, the ritualistic killings.
Hey, how you doing? Good. Jim home with the Rangers. Life good today or not?
This is not a normal homicide.
You know how they kill someone.
It all seemed to have started with Caitlin.
How screwed up are you from Caitlin, man?
In the early days, it was good. After that first month, that's when I started to see these warning signs that he was manipulative, very controlling. I just told him, I can't do this anymore, this isn't working, this is over. He flipped out.
He showed up at your dorm room out of the blue. You never gave him the address.
No.
You know you trespassed. In his mind, he was seeking revenge.
The warrant that we got is for stalking.
On his ex-girlfriend, who had called the police on him.
How he was stalking me was completely related to Jackie Vandegrift's death.
There's some similarities in the way that Vandegrift looks and the way that Brian's ex-girlfriend looked.
Do you think there's a chance, a possibility, that he walked into this bar and saw somebody who reminded him of you and took his rage out on her?
Most definitely. I think that he really wanted to kill me. I think that he wanted me dead.
When I first arrived on the scene, I saw a lot of police cars, saw fire trucks. There was a lot of activity.
It was September 14th, 2016, just before dawn, when John Luna, a captain with the Grapevine Police Department, responded to a call about a gruesome discovery here at Grapevine Lake.
Just off of the worn footpath, you have an area that's pretty well overgrown with weeds, but you could clearly see a small area that was burned just beyond where I'm standing. There was a body that was obviously charred. It had been set on fire.
The body, found inside a blue kiddie pool, was so badly damaged that police could not determine the most basic facts about the victim.
We didn't know if that was an adult or a child, a male or a female.
The next day, using fingerprints, police were able to identify the victim. It was Jackie Vandegrift, a 24-year-old nutrition major at Texas Women's University in nearby Denton.
I chose this major because I realized the importance of nutrition and just overall health.
We're both named Jacqueline, named after Jacqueline Kennedy.
One of Jackie Vandegrift's closest friends, Jackie Tan. They met in high school.
Ever since then, we were Jackie squared, and I loved it. She made me feel like I could be myself and just be goofy and funny.
Jackie Tan remembers her friend as a good student who was focused and trusting.
That girl, smartest girl I've known.
She had her whole life ahead of her. She had plans. Me and my detectives, we went out there for her memorial service, and sorry.
For Captain Luna, the brutality of this crime hit close to home.
Could have just as easily been my daughter that this happened to.
Jackie spent the last evening of her life in Denton with this man. Police didn't know his identity right away, but this woman knew him very well.
He would always give me flowers, always, especially if he had something to be sorry about.
Charles Bryant lived some 20 miles away, but he had been making frequent visits to Denton, trying to rekindle a relationship with his ex-girlfriend, Caitlin Mathis, who had recently moved there to attend the University of North Texas.
He was just trying to win me back, and I was just like, nothing is gonna work.
Caitlin's involvement with Bryant had begun 3 months earlier, in June, in the town of Grapevine, when it came into the restaurant where Caitlin was working as a server.
The day that I met him was the day after I graduated high school. He had lots of muscles and tattoos, which kind of interested me at the time.
Bryant was then 29, working as a bartender and personal trainer. You're 18, he's 29. He's got muscles and tattoos and must have made your mother crazy.
Yeah, extremely crazy. In a good way, though. Yeah, she cared about me.
Being a mother of adult children is a different role. You have to let go for them to fly away and grow up with you.
Caitlin is the youngest of Karen Halsey's 4 children. she says Caitlin was hard to miss.
Fireball. You know, when she's in the house, she never walked anywhere. She ran everywhere.
And Caitlin ran headlong into the relationship with Charles Bryant that summer of 2016. One of their regular date spots was at the park by Grapevine Lake, where this picture was taken. When Karen learned about the relationship, she asked Caitlin to show her a picture of him.
I got this feeling just deep inside to my bones, an evil feeling. And I said, he's going to hurt you. He's going to do something bad.
Wow.
And she's like, oh, he's nice. He's good to me. He makes me feel like an adult.
Were you thinking to yourself, you're 18, you're too young to know?
Yes. But I didn't want to insult her.
Within weeks, Caitlin was having serious doubts of her own about Bryant.
That's when I started to see these warning signs that he was manipulative, he was a bit of a narcissist. He thought very highly of himself. He would say things like, oh, you'll never find anyone better than me. It was toxic, and he was toxic.
In mid-August 2016, Caitlin broke up with Bryant. She thought that was the last she'd see of him. But the next day, he showed up uninvited at her mother's house.
And somehow he convinced me to get back with him. He was trying to say, oh, I can work on this and I can be better, and making all these promises.
But Caitlin realized she wasn't interested in promises.
That was one of the things that my mom taught me. People do not change. You can't change someone. At that point, I was just waiting for the perfect time to end things.
A little more than a week later, after Caitlin moved away to school, she told Bryant it was over again. Later that night, police found him on campus.
Just by sheer coincidence, I had made a traffic stop and he was driving that vehicle.
Captain Jeremy Polk was then a lieutenant for the UNT campus police. He pulled Bryant over early in the morning of August 24th.
I thought he was an intoxicated driver by the way he was driving, and that was my focus.
So right now I'm going to have to place you on, arrest. So good, you can just remain seated. It's all good.
Bryant was not over the legal limit. He was charged with a few outstanding traffic tickets, and they let him go. Later that same day, he was back on Caitlin's campus again.
He actually knocked on the door of my dorm room. He didn't know prior to where I lived. And he said, oh, your name was on the door.
Did that creep you out?
It did. At that point, I was scared.
Caitlin got him out of there and called campus police. Captain Polk recognized Bryant's name on the report and went along to interview Caitlin the next day.
She told us things like, I just did not like the way Charles spoke to me. I did not like the way he treated me, and I made that choice then and there. I would do everything I could to help her with this situation.
Polk issued a no trespass order, banning Charles Bryant from the UNT campus. But once again, Bryant would not take no for an answer.
The biggest fear I have as a police officer sometimes is emotion, because emotion drives people to do things you would never imagine.
It was my first day there, and he walked through the door, and my heart just dropped to the bottom of my stomach.
It was August 31st, 2016, a week since Charles Bryant had tracked Caitlin Mathis down at her new dorm. And now he was invading her space again, coming into her new restaurant on her first day of work.
I was like, I just want you to leave.
What did he say to that?
He didn't really say anything. He looked upset. My new coworkers, they were like, yeah, he was here yesterday looking for you.
Caitlin asked her manager to keep Bryant out, but her manager said there was nothing he could do.
I can't work here. I don't feel safe enough to work here.
Caitlin went back to her old job a half-hour's drive away. Her mother found it all hard to watch from a distance.
I said, come home. It was my motherly instinct to protect her, and in order to protect her, I had to have her with me.
But Caitlin thought she'd be safe in her dorm. A week later, on September 6th, what would have been their 3-month anniversary, Bryant was back, yet again.
He showed up to my dorm, knocked on my door, and at this point, I was shaking. I'm all alone. I actually hid in my suite mate's closet.
You hid?
Yes. When I was on the phone with the police, they were like, we can't hear you, you need to speak up. And I was just afraid that he was gonna hear my voice. I did hear him say, Caitlin, I know you're in there, just open up, I have something for you. And I'm like, God, what do you have for me? I don't want it.
Bryant left flowers and a 2-page letter. When police arrived, he was gone.
I heard him say, hey, it's Charles, I have something for you.
You know for sure it was him?
Yeah, I know it was him.
Sierra 27, myself, and 443 and a BI.
Police found him outside 10 minutes later.
You at school here? Yeah. What's your name?
Now in running clothes, and arrested him for trespassing.
But you know you're not supposed to be up there.
Bryant posted bond and was released within hours. Although Caitlin had already blocked him on her phone, email, and social media, he created a new email address and wrote to her later that same day. Here I am, heartbroken and with a criminal record for bringing the girl I love flowers.
That's when it became really serious for me. If an actual physical arrest doesn't stop the behavior, then something is wrong.
Captain Polk helped Caitlin get an emergency protective order. And because Bryant had kept trying to reach her after his arrest,
How you doing, Charles? You have your ID with you?
Polk had his officers go to Bryant's house the next day and charge him yet again, this time for stalking. This was his 3rd arrest in 14 days.
I told him if he continued to communicate with Caitlin, I would use every email, I would use every text message, I would use every phone call as a reason to have him rearrested.
2 days later, Bryant posted a $5,000 bond and got out of jail.
He was telling his roommate that I was the crazy one in this relationship. So all of his friends were kind of coming at me and they were like, why, you need to drop these charges against him.
By September 13th, Bryant was back in Denton, just a half mile from Caitlin's dorm, in an area she had told him about back when they were still dating.
I was talking about going up to Fry Street and meeting new people.
Bryant went to Fry Street Public House that night at about 7 p.m. An hour later, Jackie Vandergriff walked in, asked about a job, and ended up in a conversation with the bartender and Charles Bryant. About 45 minutes later, Jackie posted a message on her Twitter. I'm glad I decided to get off Tinder and walk to a bar. Jackie's friend, Jackie Tan.
Jackie was a very social person. Whenever she went out, she would make friends with everybody. And it wasn't even flirty. It wasn't anything, She was talking to the bartender, talking to other people.
At about 9 o'clock, Jackie left with Bryant and the bartender. She and Bryant went to another bar nearby and started talking to a group of women. By 9:45, it was raining and everyone was headed out. Jackie left with Charles Bryant.
I feel like she felt comfortable enough with him that night because she had been hanging out with him for so long that she was like, hey, well, whatever. He's just gonna drop me off. It's not that far and I'll be good.
Once in his car, Bryant stopped at a convenience store. This was the last time Jackie Vandergriff was seen alive. The day after she was found dead, there was a new post on her Twitter. Never knew I could feel like this.
It was just really bizarre.
Police suspected it was a message from her killer, and they knew they had to move quickly to ID the man Jackie had been with. They had some luck when they tracked down the women Jackie met that night.
One of the friends that was with her had gotten a business card from this person because he was a fitness instructor.
Now the Grapevine police had Charles Bryant's name. They learned about that restraining order.
So in my eyes, that played into him as being a good suspect.
Grapevine police called Captain Polk, who was in the middle of a road race.
The first thing he told me was Charles Bryant was their main suspect in Jackie's murder, and I immediately just sat down on a park bench in the middle of the race. It floored me.
Bryant was emerging as a strong suspect, but Grapevine police did not have physical evidence connecting him to Jackie's death. So for now, Bryant was free, and Polk was worried about what he might do next.
I called Caitlin and I just asked, "Where are you?"
I was like, does this have to do with the murder that happened in Grapevine? And he's like, I can't specify that to you, Caitlin, but are you safe right now?
And what did you say?
I said, I think so.
She might have been wrong. In the days after Jackie's murder, Charles Bryant sent Caitlin several emails, including this picture, writing on it, "First kiss under this tree once upon a time." That photo was taken at Grapevine Lake.
He might have taken that picture that same day that Jackie was killed.
It was September 2016, and Caitlin Mathis, Charles Bryant's ex-girlfriend, was very worried he might have been involved in the brutal murder at Grapevine Lake just days before.
I was waiting for more news to come out, because at that point, they hadn't even arrested him yet.
Were you worried he was going to come after you?
I was. I thought that's exactly what he was going to do.
The emails and picture Bryant had recently sent Caitlin were proof that he was still thinking about her in the days after Jackie was killed. But they were also proof of something else.
It was prohibited for Charles to communicate with her in any manner, and that if he did, he would have been violating that order.
Captain Polk thought they could use those violations to help the Grapevine police, who didn't have enough to make an arrest yet.
So I told the detective, we can get a warrant signed on some evidence we just got and at least, get him off the street.
You go by Charles, you go by Dean? Charles. Okay.
Charles Bryant was arrested on September 18th for violating Caitlin's restraining order. Grapevine detectives were hoping they'd soon find more evidence connecting him to Jackie's death.
He's brought to the Grapevine Police Department for an interview, and right away he's beginning to distance himself from having almost any interaction with Jackie.
You recognize who she is?
We started a bar.
And at the same time, we began serving a search warrant for his residence.
What can you tell me about her?
That's about it, I guess.
It had been 4 days since Jackie's body was found. Plenty of time to dispose of any possible evidence. But Captain Luna at Grapevine PD says they found a lot at Bryant's home, including a large military-style knife.
You know what? Her purse was found in there too.
Bryant had no way to answer for any of it, including 2 more items police found while he was in custody. Video of him buying a shovel the night Jackie disappeared, and a kiddie pool missing from his backyard that matched the one Jackie's body was found in.
We have video of you with this girl.
Show me.
You're at the bar. You're walking around Walmart at 4 o'clock in the morning buying a shovel. She's found dead in a pool that came from your backyard.
He even got to the point at the end of his interview with our detective where he said, well, I must have done it. I don't remember doing anything.
Everything points to me. It's like I had to have done it.
An open and shut case? Not even close. Although there was overwhelming evidence that Bryant had disposed of Jackie's body, there was no evidence yet that confirmed how Jackie had died, or that Bryant had killed her.
And that's when they reached out to me and asked if I could come in and spend some time with him and interview him and see what I could get.
Because you have an expertise in dealing with this kind of personality.
Right, this is kind of my calling.
Jim Holland is the senior member of an elite team of Texas Rangers, a select division of the Texas State Police. He specializes in interviewing some of the country's most prolific killers and analyzing their thoughts.
Hey, how you doing?
And Charles Bryant seemed to fit the bill. Jackie's body had been dismembered before being set on fire. How do you begin to understand a mind that would do that?
A lot of these people, they actually want to tell you. They want to tell someone.
At first, Bryant kept to his claim that he didn't remember a thing.
Yeah, it's crazy because I really don't remember meeting this girl.
The idea that he doesn't remember doing it, oh, no, it's absolute nonsense.
So you knew Charles Bryant remembered exactly what had happened.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And your job was just to pull that out of him.
Right.
You know, you're not a violent dude. You haven't really been in trouble.
Holland says his strategy was to try to make friends with Bryant and get him talking.
You know, you obviously work out. I mean, you're a stud, right?
You don't want him to look at you as a law enforcement officer. You want him to think of you as a friend, a compadre, a drinking buddy. You know, you kind of go back to what two boys would talk about in a high school locker room, you know, about the girl they kissed on Friday night.
You don't have any issues with girls.
No, not by any means. They're just blowing my mind.
And Holland suggested possible scenarios to see if Bryant would take it from there.
Okay, so something happens. Bam, there's a snap. And we need to figure out what that is. And maybe, you know, she got mad. Maybe she's giving you all the signals and then cut you off. I mean, there could be all kinds of different things going on here, right? I mean, chicks, right? You know chicks?
You know, as we're going through the interview, I'm watching him. I'm, I guess in a way, a human lie detector. I'm reading him and I'm throwing things at him in which I know the answer. And I'm looking for his responses, whether they're false or true.
Under the pretense of helping Bryant remember what happened, Holland suggested they do a memory exercise.
What we're going to do is these mind exercises, which means we're going to move back in time.
Bryant, who first claimed he didn't know who Jackie was, then seemed to remember her. He said he could see her coming into the bar.
I think she was looking for a job. That's what it was.
And offering her a ride.
It makes sense. It was raining. I probably would offer a ride home.
There's tons of things in this that I can tell you, right?
Over a pizza, as Holland tried to steer Bryant to confess, he probed about a possible motive.
But what does everyone want to know? And yeah, why? And who's the only one who can tell us that?
Me.
You know?
Holland eventually cut to the chase and asked if what happened with Jackie was really all about Caitlin.
Was there a time that you pictured her as this girlfriend that did you wrong, or did anything like that come into play?
No.
The level of nonsense that came out of his mouth at different points about that was just astonishing.
Do you think Charles Bryant looks around the bar and sees Jacqueline Vandergriff? Ah, she looks like Caitlin.
It wouldn't surprise me if he actually mistook her at first. You know, that saw her from behind and thought, man, you know, my ex is here. I think in his mind that whole night, I think that's what he pictured.
After the murder, right after the murder, he took Jackie's phone and used it to add me on Facebook.
When Texas Ranger Jim Holland was brought in to interrogate Charles Bryant, the nature of the crime made him wonder if Bryant's brain was wired like the serial killers he'd encountered. In what way is the mind of a serial killer different from a common criminal?
You know, generally people like that tend to be sociopathic or psychopathic mindsets, and it's just a different game. Psychopath would be someone who's basically born with a scar on their brain. And a sociopathic mindset is something that society has brought on. Something happened to them that changed their psyche.
Something maybe had happened in his childhood.
Christy Dixon got a glimpse of Charles Bryant's psyche firsthand. She met him on a dating app the year before Jackie Vandergrift's death.
He seemed pretty quiet and reserved, almost like he was shy. By the second or third time that we were hanging out, I noticed he was getting pretty attached pretty quickly, and I just was not there. It was very casual to me.
After she broke things off, he continued to pursue her. Bryant even told her that he loved her. Christy says they'd never even shared a kiss.
It was a little too much too soon, too fast. I work with abused children, and that to me kind of stuck out.
Christy says that's when she asked Bryant about his childhood. He told her he had been molested, a claim that 48 Hours could not independently verify.
I remember thinking, that makes sense. I'm not a psychologist or anything, but his behavior sort of came off to me as maybe an abused child or someone who is just needing that extra love that most people probably aren't seeking.
Still, Christy thought he was harmless and stayed in touch.
I thought he was just a really nice guy and felt sorry for him.
I'm not an angry guy. I'm not aggressive.
As Ranger Holland continued his interrogation, he wanted to see if Bryant would answer the key question: how did Jackie Vandergrift die? Her autopsy didn't provide many answers.
There's a lot we didn't know. We didn't know where it occurred. We didn't know exactly how it broke down. And so that's what my goal was.
Holland wondered if the crime had a sexual element, but initially, Bryant denied anything sexual took place.
I don't recall having sex.
You don't?
No, normally I recall having sex.
After 3 more hours of interrogation, Bryant said they did have sex. Kinky sex. According to Bryant, Jackie wanted to be choked with an oversized zip tie that just happened to be in his car.
She didn't fight you in any way when you were putting it on?
The consensual sex aspect of it was one of those things that no, I felt strongly that he was lying about.
And Bryant also claimed that neither he nor Jackie had tightened the zip tie intentionally.
Okay. So you think he just tightened up on its own, basically?
Not so much that, like, it had a snag on something or...
Okay. Then what happened?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, she's not responsive. Shake her. Nothing.
Are you just thinking this is a complete and total lie?
Yeah, it's total fabrication. Did he kill her? Yes, absolutely. When you deal with these people, it's so rare that you would sit down with them and they would just tell you A to Z, this is what occurred. And they're always going to leave out things that make them look really bad. In other words, there's an excuse. I'm not a bad person. I didn't mean for this to happen. It was an accident.
Although Bryant was evasive about how Jackie died, as Holland led him through the memory exercise, Bryant went into gruesome detail about how he disposed of her body.
Okay, what do you see in the pool?
Garbage bags.
All right, now tell me exactly what you see occurring after that.
I go down that trail.
And what happens next?
Set it on fire.
The fire. Why do you burn the body?
Spirit evidence.
Even if he couldn't admit to murder, Bryant seemed to waver between denial and acceptance, at one point conceding that the evidence showed he had to have done it.
I can't fight it. It's obviously me.
After an intense 6-hour interrogation and with mounting evidence, Charles Bryant was finally charged with Jackie Vandergrift's murder. Christy Dixon could not believe the news.
That night, I actually was scared to go to sleep. I had nightmares. He had never threatened me before, but just the fact that someone that I felt that I knew had murdered someone potentially, I was terrified.
For Caitlin Mathis, her worst fears were confirmed. And when she tried to learn more about the woman Bryant killed, she made a shocking discovery on Facebook.
I looked up Jackie Vandergrift and I realized, oh my God, I'm already friends with her.
Caitlin says that digital friendship began after Jackie's death. You got a friend request from Jackie Vandergrift.
Yes.
Caitlin believes that Facebook friend request could only have come from one person, Charles Bryant. That really sounds diabolical.
It was.
Bryant pleaded not guilty to Jackie's murder. His defense was the same story he told Ranger Holland.
These two young people met. They consumed a lot of alcohol. Our position is they had sex, kinky sex, albeit, and she died.
Bryant's court-appointed defense attorney, Glynis McGinty, says Jackie Vandergrift's death was a tragic accident. Are you telling me there's no evidence that Charles Bryant killed Jackie Vandergrift?
Not direct evidence.
Prosecutors Lucas Allen and Anna Hernandez believed the evidence they did have would be enough. But they also knew that most jurors want a motive, and they weren't sure they'd be able to tell this jury why they thought Jackie was targeted.
You have to wonder what is driving this person to do something like that.
In your minds, there is no doubt that the murder of Jackie Vandergrift is connected to the stalking of Caitlin Mathis.
Yes, I think we believe that, definitely. She might have just been victim number one, with Caitlin being victim number two.
To help prove this, the prosecution was hoping the judge would allow Caitlin to testify against her ex-boyfriend turned stalker in open court.
I felt sick.
Jackie was the most special person. I know I'll never meet someone like her again.
In April 2018, a year and a half after Jackie Vandergrift's untimely death, Charles Bryant was standing trial for her murder. Her friend Jackie Tan could not bring herself to be there.
I wanted to go, but I'm going to be honest. I couldn't look at him.
Charles Bryant would have to answer for a long list of items the prosecution had collected, including that giant zip tie, the shovel he purchased the night Jackie died, and that large knife which police believe he used to cut up her body, all found at his house.
This is something that you pray every night does not happen to your child when they go off to school.
Investigators had also found a stun gun in his car with Jackie's DNA on it. But it appears Jackie was spared at least one horror. Prosecutors Anna Hernandez and Lucas Allen say the medical examiner was able to run tests on Jackie's remains and found no evidence of sexual assault.
There was zero evidence to support that they had any type of sexual encounter.
Prosecutors say this undermines Bryant's story that this was kinky sex gone wrong. His attorney, Glynis McGinty. How could they have had sex if there's no evidence?
No evidence to the degree of no sperm found in her. That doesn't mean they didn't have some type of consensual sexual encounter.
She likes it when they're making out.
Prosecutors chose not to play that interrogation tape for the jury, which meant Bryant would have to take the stand if he wanted jurors to hear his version of events. He elected not to. Shouldn't he be explaining to the jury why he's not at fault for her death?
And then that flies in the face of our constitutional rights.
But the defense knows it has an uphill battle to convince a jury that Bryant is not guilty of murder while admitting he disposed of Jackie's body. If he says it was just an accident, why didn't he call for help?
Sure, fair question. Intoxicated, panicked, and his mind would not process all of that to make a rational decision that you or I would have made. Call the police.
But Bryant went further than simply discarding Jackie's body. Much, much further. And prosecutors wanted the jury to hear their theory.
A huge piece of that story was the stalking.
But before the jury could hear from Caitlin, the judge would have to rule on whether or not to allow this evidence.
How is he his boyfriend?
Local TV cameras were there when, without the jury present, Caitlin took the stand and faced her ex.
I was disgusted just to see his face.
Did he look at you? Did you meet eyes?
At one point we had to, when they made me describe to the court what he was wearing. And he just had this smirk on his face.
There's nothing really that can prepare you for that, is there?
No. The second I walked out those doors, I started bawling.
In the end, the judge ruled against Caitlin being able to tell her story to the jury.
It was definitely a real blow to us.
That was the right decision.
Why?
He had not been convicted of anything with Caitlin.
As the jury went out to deliberate, the defense was hopeful.
I don't believe that they could prove that he murdered her. I don't think that they proved that.
But would the jury agree? They were out for a little over 2 hours, and even without hearing Caitlin's story,
We, the jury, find the defendant, Charles Dean Bryant, Jr., guilty of the offense of murder.
Charles Bryant was found guilty of Jackie Vandegrift's murder and dismemberment. To your way of thinking, was justice done?
Yes.
I knew she was up there and said, "Thank you."
Because prosecutors had no evidence Bryant committed another crime at the same time as Jackie's murder, like rape or kidnapping, he was not eligible for the death penalty. He was sentenced to life.
As terrible as it is to say, but I wanted the death penalty.
Under Texas law, Bryant could be eligible for parole after 30 years. Caitlin says she feels like she's still looking over her shoulder and always will be.
I fear that when he gets out, he'll come and find me and do something to either me or someone that I love. That's my biggest fear.
Ever since this happened, Caitlin and her mother have been thinking about Jackie and her family.
This whole time I wanted to reach out, but I didn't know how they felt.
Nearly 2 years after Jackie died, they finally met.
Her grandmother, bless her heart, she immediately came up to us and to Caitlin and hugged her and said, "I've been so worried about you these past 2 years."
Wow. Karen, why is this the part that gets you?
He took away their little girl. And the pain I saw in their eyes, I could feel their pain.
And yet the grandmother was telling Caitlin she was worried about Caitlin.
Yes,
You sound like very special people.
they are.
Caitlin says she struggled with the fact that she survived and Jackie did not. This so easily could have been you.
And some days I wish it was. It's just the guilt that eats me up sometimes. I would have easily taken her place if I had the chance.
"48 Hours. Don't miss an episode."
My mom said, "Scott shot Penny." And I was like, "Is she okay?" And my mom was just like, "No, she's not okay."
Penny was a bright and trusting 15-year-old.
She was neat. She was a neat little girl.
But to Scott Struthers, a family friend, Penny became an obsession. He started stalking her. There were threats.
How many phone calls?
Oh, 100 times a day.
Scott was arrested, hospitalized.
He's in their psychiatric ward writing, "How cool will you look when I walk up and blow your brains out?"
Then the unthinkable. Erin Moriarty has some tough questions. Are the doctors who treated him responsible for Penny's death? Are her parents? And they are the familiar faces on your local news. Are they in danger?
Nobody knows right now how many news anchors get stalked.
A stalker chased this reporter out of town.
Letters detailing about sexual fantasies, ultimately ending with me being drowned in a bathtub.
This reporter never had a chance to run.
911, what's your emergency?
Troy Roberts on being watched a little too closely.
What did you want from her?
I don't know.
48 Hours investigates to catch a stalker.
Good evening, and welcome to 48 Hours Investigates. I'm Leslie Stahl. Penny Chang knew and trusted Scott Struthers. So did Penny's parents. Indeed, Scott Struthers was like a member of the family, and just about the last person they would have ever suspected of posing a threat to their daughter. That's what makes this case even harder to understand. There were warning signs that may have been missed, and there may have been miscommunication too. But there is also a question hanging over this case as to whether the experts, the doctors, are at all to blame. To Penny's family, the answer is clear. Erin Moriarty reports on a story of misplaced trust that led to tragedy.
Outside Cleveland, Ohio,
Located is a A21.
mathematician C.L. Chang found what he couldn't in his native China: academic freedom and a culturally rich and diverse neighborhood where he and his wife, Yunhua, could raise their 4 children.
He wanted us to have a stable, happy family. You know, just for us to have a better life.
Joanne Chang, the oldest, loved growing up in Shaker Heights.
You see children playing outside all the time. And it's a comforting place to live. So you ready?
I'm ready if you are.
Joanne is a medical student. Sean is pursuing a master's degree in computer graphics.
Want to watch some football?
Warren, the youngest, is a high school junior. And then there was Penny.
She's the most beautiful child we had.
How did you name Penny?
Penny is Pennsylvania. It's not Pennsylvania. He was born in Pennsylvania.
You must have really liked Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And did she speak Chinese very well?
So. She was so Americanized.
I'll go with you.
She's definitely pretty much a typical American girl. I mean, talking on the phone for hours. She was neat. She was a neat little girl.
A child who thrived in her adopted community, where no one would have predicted what happened.
Shaker Heights is an affluent suburb. It's very diverse. There's a lot of old money. And I think people don't like to think things like this happen in places like that. And, you know, we've learned they do.
Mike Tobin, a reporter for the Cleveland Plain Dealer, says the problems began for the Chang family in the summer of 1998. Penny had a summer job working alongside Scott Struthers, her brother's best friend since middle school. How would you describe Scott back then?
Very shy, very quiet, really odd, really, unorthodox sense of humor that I just found hilarious.
Scott had almost grown up at the Chang house and went on to become Sean's college roommate.
He's just so nice, and she's such a close friend of my brother's.
Which is why no one was too concerned when Scott and Penny spent a lot of time together, although Penny was only 15 and Scott was 21. Did your parents think anything of it, that they were spending a lot of time together?
No. Why would they think a 21-year-old boy, friend of my brother, be a threat to my 15-year-old sister?
But the family didn't realize how serious Scott's feelings were. Penny was pretty important to him.
Yeah, and I think you see that in the journals where Penny, at least for that summer, was his life.
Scott Struthers began a journal later that year that described his relationship with Penny.
In his journal, you see him talking about this girl as this wonderful thing, and the object of his affection. The times that I had spent with Penny this summer when things were going good and she was nice to me was like a dream come true. The weather was beautiful, so was she, and I was at times happier than I had ever been in my life.
There was only one problem. Penny didn't feel the same way.
It seems like he definitely read too much into it and really thought that, you know, she liked him, and I just don't think that was the case.
When the summer ended and Penny began ignoring Scott, the Chang family phone began ringing off the hook.
Phone
How
call.
many phone calls?
Oh, 100 times a day. 100 times.
Midnight,
Yeah.
midnight, midnight.
Midnight, we
Midnight,
disconnect the phone.
Yeah.
But things got worse.
He tried to burn down the garage. He put glue in my parents' gas tank. He threw like miscellaneous objects through the window, like little rocks.
They used the slingshot. These windows was broken. The front one, the biggest front one, it was broken.
Days later, the police arrested Scott Struthers. Shaker Heights Police Chief Walter Ugrinick.
Would you describe Scott Struthers as a stalker?
Yes, yes. He was following her. He was keeping an eye on her.
He seemed like a shy, kind young boy. Well, guess not so much.
Were you worried that Scott would ever hurt her?
I was a little, but it wasn't overwhelming.
Did she seem scared of him at all?
She didn't. She didn't. She was 15.
Struthers was charged with telephone harassment and misdemeanor arson, but right before sentencing, he voluntarily admitted himself to this hospital for observation.
Do you think Scott Struthers went to the Cleveland Clinic because he really wanted help?
No, I think it was a legal tactic to show the court, you know, I'm sorry and I'm taking steps to correct my behavior and I'm sick and I'm getting help.
Whatever his motive, Struthers stayed here for 5 weeks. He was released on Thanksgiving Day, 1998, after doctors determined he was no longer a threat, even though the journal that Struthers began as part of his therapy here contained some very threatening entries.
It's scary. You know, it's just frightening because he lays out what he's going to do, and you see this progression, this evolution in his mind of her as this sweet little girl to this evil object that has to be made to pay.
The tone of Scott's writing becomes increasingly menacing.
I think that my actions were a way to force myself to be an important part of her life, even though it was in a negative way. I once thought, forget about me, bitch. I will make you remember me forever. And then the one that just, I still to this day can't get over. How cool and superior will you look when I blow your brains out into the ground? He's at the Cleveland Clinic in their psychiatric ward writing, how cool will you look when I walk up and blow your brains out? And 5 months later, in broad daylight, across the street from the police station, it's exactly what he did.
Three and a half months after being released from the Cleveland Clinic, at 7:30 on a cold March morning, Scott Struthers stalked Penny Chang one more time as she walked to school. He approached her from behind and shot her 3 times in the back of the head. Penny was rushed to the emergency room, but it was too late.
They bring me to see Penny. I saw Penny sleep on the bed, and if I read the floor, all of the blood. I know what happens. I check her pulse. I found nothing.
My mom said, Scott shot Penny. And I was like, is she okay? And my mom was just like, no, she's not okay. Oh my gosh, those words were, she's not okay. Well, how bad off is she? So she's dead.
This had been a best friend. What was your reaction to that?
Oh, shock. Of course. It's just out of this world shock. It's just unbelievable.
6 months after the shooting, Scott Struthers pled guilty to murder. He's now serving a sentence of 23 years to life.
I mean, I'm glad that he's not going to see, like, the sun come up, really. And I'm going to make sure of that, too.
I just keep
But for the Chang family, Scott isn't the only guilty party.
Do you blame someone for Penny's death?
The first of all, brand, of course, is Scott Struthers. The second person is the person took care of Scott Struthers.
For the entire 5 months prior to Penny's death, Scott Struthers was receiving psychiatric care. First as a patient here at the Cleveland Clinic, and then when he was released from a private therapist. The Changs believe these professionals could and should have stopped Struthers from killing their daughter. They're suing them for $20 million.
I fear they made so much mistake.
The case is pursued as a wrongful death case.
Paul Kaufman is the Chang's attorney.
What do you see as the biggest failing on the part of Cleveland Clinic?
I think their biggest failing was in discharging him when they did. I mean, it's our position he still needed to be hospitalized.
Everyone agrees that when Struthers first arrived at the Cleveland Clinic after stalking Penny and facing charges of harassment, he was a severely troubled young man.
Do you remember meeting Scott?
Yes, I do.
Forensic psychiatrist Kathleen Quinn.
So in many ways, he looked quite ordinary, although the concerns were extraordinary about him.
What do you mean?
Well, that there was an issue of dangerousness.
Dr. Quinn says Struthers exhibited a number of behaviors which made him a significant risk for violence, including severe anger, homicidal thoughts, and a desire to obtain a gun.
That resulted in an immediate hospitalization and there being a commitment paper drawn up.
What's more, Struthers made no secret of his desire to kill Penny in his journal. But Struthers appeared to improve, and after just 5 weeks of treatment, he was discharged, even though hospital records show doctors still had some concerns.
2 days before he was discharged, they didn't believe him, and they doubted his credibility. And he was showing no remorse, and he was having no emotional reaction. I don't see how anybody could think that this young man was ready to be discharged.
I've had some concerns about his veracity.
George Tessar was the attending psychiatrist who authorized Struthers' release.
They weren't consistent concerns from day to day, and by the end of the evaluation, I was quite convinced that he was telling us the truth as he felt it then.
In an exclusive interview with 48 Hours, Dr. Tessar says he released Struthers only after seeing great improvement in his patient.
He no longer made those statements about wanting to kill her or feeling any compulsion to kill her. He was feeling better.
According to Tessar, the homicidal thoughts expressed in Scott's journal were all in the past tense.
At one point in his journal, he writes, basically, I was thinking, how cool and superior will you look, bitch, when I blow your brains out into the ground.
Right.
You can just get rid of those feelings a week or two later?
Well, I think, yeah, that's possible. He was not conveying the same kind of impression at the end of this hospitalization.
This man's assessment at discharge was correct. It was correct because he didn't do anything when he was discharged.
Attorney Jim Malone is defending the Cleveland Clinic.
Nothing violent took place for 3.5 months.
He says expecting psychiatrists to predict violence that far into the future is expecting too much.
The Cleveland Clinic has every medical device to benefit humankind. The one thing they don't have is a crystal ball that works.
Our clinical experience suggests that we're pretty good at it, at predicting violence in the short term, 24, 48, 72 hours after an evaluation. Beyond that, nobody's very good at predicting violence.
If the Cleveland Clinic couldn't predict that Scott Struthers would become a killer, what about the private therapist who picked up his case and saw him regularly, right up until he bought a gun to kill Penny?
Randy Krell will call Randy Krell to the stand.
Scott Struthers met with Raina Krell regularly for 3.5 months. On March 12, 1999, Struthers bought a gun, took it to this shooting range, and practiced firing it. Although he had seen Krell 2 days earlier, she saw no sign of his escalating anger.
How did Raina Krell not see that?
I think you'd have to ask her.
Krell refused to talk with 48 Hours, but she told the court.
Did he ever make any threats of any kind?
No.
Did he ever have any evidence of recent homicidal ideation?
No.
Did he ever show any evidence of present dangerousness?
No. He had talked about comments of feeling regret, feeling more personally responsible. He's demonstrated an interest in work.
From your perspective, is this positive, negative, what?
I viewed it as positive.
I think she looked at him as sort of the jilted boyfriend, depression type of situation, and never really got below the surface.
Isn't it possible that he was such a good actor, he really fooled all the doctors?
Sure, it's possible. But the problem with that is that these doctors are the experts.
With millions of dollars and their reputations at stake, Scott Struthers' doctors are fighting back by pointing the blame at Penny's own family.
He's the most beautiful child we have.
That's next.
Just plain old-fashioned evil. And there is scarcely anything that can be done by mental health or anybody else to prevent evil from having its way. Penny Chang was gunned down by this former patient, Scott Struthers.
Cleveland Clinic attorney Jim Malone says doctors did all they could for both Struthers and the Changs, including taking the extraordinary step of calling the Chang family to tell them of Struthers' release. But was that phone call sending a mixed message?
You're discharging him because you think he's safe. Why then do you feel an obligation to inform the Changs? That sounds like you weren't quite sure whether he was safe.
Cleveland Clinic psychiatrist George Tessar.
We thought in view of the comments that he had made and the kind of interaction he'd had with the Changs prior to the hospitalization, that it was only courteous, fair to let them know that he was being discharged.
So there was a little concern.
There was concern that they should be informed that he was no longer in the hospital.
But the Changs say that phone call led them to believe they no longer had to worry about Struthers.
My dad told me they called and said, Scott is no longer a threat to your family. And with that little comment, I mean, my dad was very relieved.
We trust the Cleveland Clinic very much. They say, no problem, they have no intention. We say, okay, he's possibly still a good boy, right?
But the hospital left out an important fact. Their assessment of Struthers was only meant for the short term.
Did anybody tell the Changs that? Did anybody say, okay, today we think he might not be a risk, but a month down the road, it's anybody's bet and you better be careful?
No, we didn't tell the Changs that. Common sense would tell you that you don't know exactly what's going to happen 3 months down the line.
Do you think, in retrospect, that warning was enough for the Changs?
I don't know. It's certainly an important point to consider.
Whether or not the warning was adequate is an issue at trial because of what happened nearly 3 months later. The Changs claim that phone call is the reason why they didn't become alarmed when, out of the blue, Scott Struthers made contact again.
Everything that happened to Scott after the summer is all Penny's fault. She ruined his life for her own petty amusement.
This time, it was in the form of emails.
Everything he did was
Cleveland Plain Dealer reporter Mike Tobin.
The #1 rule of stalking is never use your own phone. He didn't care if he got caught. And
He's talking about
himself.
The same angry, rambling emails, written in the third person, were sent to Penny, her brother, and her father. But the Changs didn't find them threatening.
I saw nothing dangerous in February email.
Nothing dangerous, just angry.
Just complain.
Complaining.
Complain.
Well, I don't think they believed there was anything to worry about. But my word, what do you have to hear to be worried?
In response to the
In fact, the Changs reached out to Struthers after receiving them.
do anything.
Oh, basically, I said, look, okay, you've scolded her enough. just leave her alone and continue her life. You think about Penny, there's lots of girls at Ohio State campus.
When you emailed him, what did you say back?
Like a teacher, I say, go back to the college immediately. You are ruining yourself.
Isn't it possible the Changs were still relying on the word of the hospital 3 months earlier? He's no longer a threat, and that's why they didn't react to the emails.
I suppose it's a conceivable explanation, but a rather naive response to threat.
1 month later, just days before the murder, Struthers emailed the Changs again.
Next time is a March email, about 60 pages.
60 pages?
60 pages, like a book.
This time, the Changs didn't read them, thinking they were simply more of Scott's harmless complaints.
And I saw nothing dangerous in the first few pages.
Had he read further, he would have been horrified. Buried within the 60 pages, Struthers spells out his plan to kill Penny.
I would like to take a hammer and repeatedly smash her face in with it until her face is a soupy, bloody pulp. Scott's moral duty has been satisfied by just sending these messages. You can never say that you didn't know. You were given the opportunity. Remember that.
That's really creepy.
Yeah.
He was warning them of what he was going to do, and they didn't realize it.
I thought he was doing better.
Neither did Raina Krell, the therapist who had been treating Struthers at the same time he was writing out his murderous intentions.
Did you, when you were treating Scott Struthers, have any information at all relating to these emails?
No, I did not.
Did you ever hear of them when you were treating him?
No.
Did you do your very best treating Scott Struthers?
I did the best I could with the information I had.
You're a professional person.
You're not expecting her to be a mind reader.
Nobody is a mind reader, but you still should know he has the intention.
But Cleveland Clinic attorney Jim Malone says since only the Changs knew about the emails, only the Changs could have prevented their daughter's death by notifying the police.
In the bottom of your heart, Dr. Chang, don't you know that you should have called for help, that a call to the police would have stopped all of this?
If I read this email totally, definitely I call police.
Was part of your strategy to deflect blame away from the hospital and onto the Changs?
No, I don't believe they're responsible for the death of their daughter. But what I say is this: if that phone call had been placed, the Shaker Heights Police Department would have had this man off the streets very rapidly.
We could probably take some of the blame, right? But here they're trying to say that it's not their fault at all. What kind of bullcrap's that?
All rise.
Now it's up to the jury to decide.
If the doctor, the psychiatrist, looks at a patient and makes a decision about a treatment plan or a discharge plan, and he does that in so-called good faith, then he's immune by law from the consequences of that decision.
I will read the verdict in this case.
After just 2 hours, the jury agrees.
As to the defendant, Cleveland Clinic, in favor of the defendant, Cleveland Clinic. As to the defendant, Raina Krell, in favor of the defendant, Raina Krell.
The Changs will get nothing from the clinic or the doctors.
Where do you think the weak spot in your case was?
I think it's extremely difficult to win a case against doctors and or therapists. We've got a lot of burdens to overcome. All of the burdens are on us.
What should we take from this case?
We've learned that there are profound limitations to what psychiatry can do and what its onus of responsibility should be.
We made our decisions based on what we thought were reasonable observations and interpretations of what we were seeing, and it could well be that the Changs were as well.
But Dr. Chang still believes the psychiatrist could have done more, and since we first brought you this story, he's filed an appeal for a new trial.
Penny was killed. Nobody can change the situation. But I like to show as many of psychiatrists, do your professional job carefully. Don't repeat such things. We don't like this happen again.
What advice would you have for a family that's in your situation?
It's better to be extremely worried than to have this happen. I'm sorry. So what? You're worried. So what? Ooh, big deal. You'll have a sister. You'll have your daughter.
Stalking happens to be an occupational hazard of this business, television reporting, that nobody likes to talk about. But the stalking of on-air personalities is a growing concern. It's even become a topic of conversation at various professional gatherings among local television anchors and reporters. They are especially at risk since they're often encouraged to connect with the audience on a personal level. The trouble is, it's hard to know who's watching. Troy Roberts has a story of some local television reporters who made the headlines for all the wrong reasons.
Energetic meteorologist George Kessler was the top-rated weatherman in Duluth, Minnesota.
Take, look, here's satellite picture in motion. You say, George, why is it so windy?
In all of our audience research, we saw George Kessler as our most popular personality.
KBJR TV news director David Jench.
People felt like George Kessler was their friend.
Now the Channel 6 6 o'clock news.
Live television, you can't beat it for a rush. If you're deep down inside secretly an adrenaline junkie, it's what you want to do. I know, is that frozen now?
Kessler felt right at home in Duluth with his wife Sheila and their small children.
This was a perfect fit for you, right? You liked the city.
Love the city. Duluth is a great town. You could drop a money clip in the middle of the street and somebody chase after you to give it back. And so you have this wonderful sense of it's almost childlike, the security that you have here. Snow showers will hold up, you think they're just going to die in there.
But for George Kessler, the childlike security would turn into agony and fear in the very town he embraced, at the same TV station he loved. It all began to unravel one day in March of 2000 when Kessler arrived for work.
It was Monday, and I was coming through the newsroom pretty quickly. Saw that my message light was on, so you're putting your stuff down, you set your voicemail to play back, and all of a sudden it just erupted. This, stream of vitriol came out of the phone.
I'm a man, Mr. Kessler. I'm not some ass homosexual. Do you understand me?
The caller was a man Kessler had never met, 42-year-old Sean Wayne Thorson, a psychiatric patient with a reputation for violence.
Did Sean Thorson threaten you with bodily harm?
Oh, yes, in no uncertain terms.
The next time you call me, preferably gay, Mr. Weatherman, I'm going to beat the out of you, and that's no joke.
He was seeing George's weather, and he felt that George was saying things to him, obscene things, threatening things. He felt George was threatening him through the TV.
Yeah, this is Sean again, and I'm not going to accept your apology, you You happen to be one of those people who can dish it out but can't take it, huh, yourself? Well, you're going to find out the hard way, my friend. I can definitely do something about it, and God bestowed upon myself the power to do so.
Thorson ignored warnings from police, even a restraining order, to stop making the phone calls. For that, he spent 4 months in a mental institution. But after he was released, Thorson went straight back to the phone.
And your ass ain't getting away with what the you've done to me, especially for calling your dogs the police on me.
Over the next year, Thorson was committed and released for mental illness 2 more times. Incredibly, there was nothing more Kessler or the police could do.
The way the laws are, you can't necessarily have security in a situation like this until something really bad happens.
Do you think, given the opportunity, Sean Thorson would have killed you?
If he was in the grips of a delusion, and I happened to be available to him, yes, without a doubt.
The question really is, how many stalkers does a celebrity have? Not if they have any.
Forensic psychiatrist Dr. Park Dietz has spent years investigating and testifying against serial killers and stalkers, including Jeffrey Dahmer and John Hinckley. Dietz says stalking of television news personalities is an occupational hazard that few in the TV industry are willing to discuss.
The illusion of intimacy is inherent in the medium. It's inevitable that some viewers are going to be attracted to this.
Take a look, satellite picture in motion.
And while George Kessler's ordeal wasn't unique, stalkers more frequently target women.
The ideal victim is a sweet, kind, gentle, pretty, accepting, approachable virgin. That allows many men in the audience to have the view, she's meant for me.
Good afternoon and welcome to News 7 at noon. I'm Melanie Moon.
Anchorwoman Melanie Moon was a rising star at WDBJ in Roanoke, Virginia, when in 1996 she started getting dark, suggestive letters from not one, but several viewers.
Letters detailing about sexual fantasies and ultimately ending with me being drowned in a bathtub.
What did these letters do to you psychologically, emotionally?
Give you nightmares. For months I would take a shower with the bathroom door locked. Would be at the grocery store. If someone looked at me strangely, for a second I would think maybe that's them.
By the fall of 1997, the FBI was searching for Melanie Moon's stalkers. Then she began hearing from 47-year-old David Lee Duff.
The first couple letters I got, he would call me the goddess of dawn, and you and I are alone together each morning in my room. They got to things like, I liked what you were wearing today. I know you were wearing it for me. I saw you smiling at me today. Thank you. And then he sent me an engagement ring.
Even after all she'd been through, Melanie Moon didn't think David Lee Duff was out to harm her. After all, he had only sent what she believed were fairly innocent tokens of his affection. But on November 5th, 1997, Duff crossed the line and came to visit Melanie at work. The confrontation was caught on videotape. Duff was told to leave, and he did so without incident. Roanoke police then warned him to stop contacting Moon, but the harassment didn't stop.
He continued to write letters, saying things like, they can't keep us apart. I'll wear jailhouse orange if I have to.
It almost came to that.
This court is again in session, please proceed.
In March of 1998, Melanie Moon saw her stalker for the first time at the Roanoke City Courthouse.
This takes away even more of your feeling secure and safe.
David Lee Duff was convicted of stalking, but all he got was a 6-month suspended sentence.
Well, Rich Gould has some breaking news.
Melanie Moon got out of Roanoke, taking a new job in another city where she's better prepared for unwelcome attention.
Tear gas on my keychain.
Carrying tear gas on her keychain and a stun gun in her purse.
Haven't had to use it yet.
Park Dietz says he understands why she has them.
Nobody knows right now how many news anchors get stalked. The likelihood is that for good-looking females on the news nightly, it's 100%.
It's a warning, Dietz says, that not enough television personalities take seriously.
Civil 911, what's your emergency? Civil 911, what's your emergency?
Well, I'm just wondering if you guys could send out somebody to check out my neighbor upstairs. I heard a lot of thumping on the floor, really loud.
January 22nd, 1998. At 8:30 a.m., Michael Goodman calls 911 in Temple, Texas.
Okay, and it's going to be apartment 246?
246, yeah. Her name's Catherine Pittman.
Okay, does she live alone up there?
Yes, she does.
Minutes later, police arrive at the Wildwood Apartments and make a horrifying discovery. Popular local TV reporter Catherine Detman's nude body on the floor of her bedroom.
Details are sketchy at this point, but here's what we know.
The 36-year-old Detman had been on the verge of an important career move. She was taking a new job at a much larger TV station in Dallas. This would be her last day of small-town life in Temple, Texas.
It was common for her to, in the morning, get up, let the cat out, and leave the door slightly ajar so the cat could come in and out while she went about making coffee, getting ready to go to work.
Assistant DA Murph Bledsoe.
The evidence appeared that she had come out of the shower. She may have heard a noise and come out in a robe or a towel, and there was a confrontation.
It was an extremely violent attack.
Temple Police Sergeant Keith Reed.
She had 15 to 16 stab wounds.
Suspect in custody is possible suspect in custody. We do need some help here.
The suspect was 21-year-old neighbor Anthony Gary Silvestri. Police found him hiding in Catherine Detman's bedroom.
His clothes were covered in blood, and he had blood on his fingers and his hands.
Friends of Catherine Detman say Silvestri had been stalking her. One coworker told us Catherine had complained to him that Silvestri was following her at the apartment complex and showing up in her car when she came and left home.
She had told me about this young guy asking her out at her apartment complex when she had gone to check her mail.
Yolanda Johnson was a receptionist at the station where Catherine worked and a close friend. She remembers Catherine mentioning Silvestri by name.
He had told her that he had seen her on TV and thought she was a very beautiful lady.
She confided in you?
Yes.
Paula Brown considered Catherine Detman her best friend. She says Detman was a trusting person and just didn't recognize Silvestri's interests as potentially dangerous.
She would have said something. I mean, she would call when her stomach hurt. If someone were after her, we would have known that.
Detman's naivete doesn't surprise Park Dietz, who says many on-air personalities aren't even aware they're being stalked.
Most station managers don't even give the news anchors all their mail or all their email. Very few stations have adequate screening of who gets on the premises or do the things for their talent that can help protect them.
Anthony Gary Silvestri pled guilty to the murder of Catherine Detman and is serving a 40 years to life prison sentence.
I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and I got mad and I lost my temper.
Police searched Silvestri's apartment and found this pair of binoculars, which they believe he used to spy on Detman. And a friend of Silvestri's told authorities that Silvestri had been watching her.
Silvestri had taken him to the part of the apartment where he could look out across the courtyard and see a window of Catherine's apartment.
What did he say?
As he's looking through the binoculars, she's really fine. She looks like a model.
What did you want from her?
I don't know.
She really believed that if she was kind and accepting, that people would treat her well. I think that was her desire, and I think that was her belief.
And her mistake?
And her mistake.
It's a bad night out there, folks. There's no way around it. Temperatures
in Duluth, Minnesota, weatherman George Kessler heard about what happened to Catherine Detman.
Yeah, this is Sean again. I'm really not afraid of you people.
And after enduring nearly a year of Sean Thorson's menacing phone calls, he made a drastic decision. Kessler quit his job and no longer works in television.
And I said, you know, this is not something that's going away.
In his own twisted way, he wanted you to walk away from your job. And he accomplished that.
Yes.
He won.
We have to understand that he wasn't doing it out of malice.
Doesn't matter. He won, right?
Yes, he did.
In the last decade or so, all 50 states have passed anti-stalking laws. At least a dozen states make stalking an automatic felony. And by no means is it mainly celebrities who are victims. If you feel you're being followed or threatened, report it to the police, tell a friend, and keep a record of it. That could all be crucial to staying safe. No one wants to go through life looking over their shoulder. But experts say a little healthy suspicion could be the first step to stop a stalker. That's 48 Hours Investigates.